Hello everybody. We're going to talk about testosterone. First, I do want to open this up by saying that I do believe in hormone replacement therapy, HRT, um, but only under the supervision of a medical provider. Okay, so I've actually gone on national radio, and publicly I've said that I'm a fan of testosterone replacement therapy. Again, only under the supervision of a medical provider, right? A doctor. Because when you start to supplement with outside, it's called exogenous, but exogenous outside the body. When you start to supplement with outside the body forms of testosterone, you really need to have it closely monitored because it can cause a lot of different problems. So I have generally always been against a testosterone booster, right? Because really, if you're eating well and you have low levels of body fat, then generally speaking, you will have pretty good, decent levels of testosterone, right? But it's when you carry extra fat, or you have poor sleep patterns, or you're not eating well, you're not exercising appropriately. And yes, there are different ways that you can work out in order to boost testosterone levels. The more you sleep, boost testosterone levels. The lower your body fat will boost testosterone levels because body fat is estrogenic. So men, the more body fat you have, the lower your testosterone levels will be. Anyway, so I've never really taken a testosterone booster before, but this company that we aligned ourselves with, Prestige Labs, actually had a testosterone booster. And gave it a shot. So for 6 months, I've been taking this stuff. Here's what I notice, okay? The biggest thing that I notice, and yes, there are some obvious things related to sex drive and stuff like that, and that's just a given, okay? But one of the biggest things that I noticed is this past weekend, we went out to hang out with a bunch of our friends. And for me, it's really hard for me to build muscle. I have a very, very narrow tolerance as far as if I eat 200 calories over my baseline, then I'll gain a little bit of muscle. Very, very little bit of muscle. If I eat 250 calories over my baseline, then I end up gaining very, very little bit of muscle and fat, right? And so for me to gain muscle without gaining fat, it's really, really hard for me, right? So I've been taking this stuff for about 6 months, and here's what I noticed so far. I noticed that it's easier for me to be leaner. I am under 13% body fat. It's the leanest that I've been with the least amount of effort and energy. So I noticed that I'm leaner. I notice it's easier for me to get leaner. I do notice an increase in sex drive and kind of associated things like that. So went out with these friends. I was wearing a button-down shirt that I haven't worn in a very long time. And when I go out, I roll my sleeves up, right? I get my hot, so I roll my sleeves up. And so I rolled my sleeves up, and so I'm like dancing. I move my arms around, and I was like, holy shit. The shirt was tighter on my arms than what it's ever been before, which to me was huge. Because it's hard for me to build muscle. And so I noticed a big difference in the size of my arms, and that's really what I've been focusing on over the last couple months. So for me, I'm sold on it, right? It actually does work. So let's talk real quick about what it does. So basically it does two different things. There's two formulas. There's a testosterone multiplication blend, and there's a testosterone amplification blend. Basically, what this product does is it causes the testosterone. First of all, the testosterone that you're naturally making, okay, this will help your body utilize more of it. Okay, now there's something called free testosterone, right? And free testosterone is usually what they test. Free testosterone is the amount of testosterone circulating around in your bloodstream, right? But then there's something called sex hormone binding globulin, and SHBG. What SHBG does is it basically binds to the different sex hormones. For males, it's testosterone primarily, although it does bind to estrogen. And for females, it's estrogen primarily, although it does also bind to testosterone. So what this SHBG does is the higher the levels of SHBG you have, the more of your primary sex hormone is going to be bound up, right? And so generally speaking, we want low levels of sex hormone binding globulin. right? The body wants, basically, you got to think about it like this. If you have a whole bunch of testosterone circulating around your bloodstream, it might not be the best thing for you to use all of that testosterone. So that's where the SHBG comes in. So in essence, what this stuff does is it helps lower that sex hormone binding globulin so that your body is more likely to use the testosterone that you're already producing, right? So that is the amplification blend. The multiplication blend is basically, you are going to notice a difference, or excuse me, you are going to notice that your body will actually make more testosterone. But it's one thing to make more testosterone and not being able to use it. It's another thing to make more testosterone and actually be able to use it, right? And so there are things in here that are going to work on amplifying the amount of testosterone that you're making, or excuse me, that work on amplifying the amount of testosterone that you can use, and actual boosting the amount of testosterone that you're producing already. Ladies, believe it or not, you do make testosterone, and tweaking that, increasing it by even just a couple percentage points, it's not going to cause you to grow facial hair. It's not going to have you grow an Adam's apple. That's where you're taking supraphysiological exogenous amounts. So that means that you're sticking a needle in your arm or sticking a needle in your butt. But to have a little bit more testosterone free circulating in your bloodstream will mean that you're going to get better results. You're going to get easier results. You're going to get quicker results. And again, it's only going to tweak it a couple percentage points. For fellas, if you're over 40, take this stuff. I'm telling you right now, this is one of the best. These are one of the best supplements, supplement line period that I've ever used, but also one of the only testosterone boosters that I've ever taken, because the company, I trust the company, I trust the formulator, and I wanted to give it a shot. So I've been taking it for 6 months, and I can definitely tell I noticed a difference. Big thing with this is that you have to take it for 3 months. That's why I did it for 6 months before I kind of came out and talked about it. So give it a shot. Take it for 3 months. You definitely should notice increased sex drive. You should notice increased morning erections, which is a good thing for guys. That means that you're recovering well. That also means you have a higher level of testosterone than what you had. Should notice increased recovery from workouts, increased building muscle, increased losing fat, etc., etc., etc. All right, guys. See you at the gym.